Hey there, viewers, and welcome back to the Self-Made Auto Channel. Sitting inside a 2005 Dodge Neon. Got towed in last night. Got brought in from another shop. Wants me to take a look at it. They've had it there for almost a month and can't figure out why the vehicle doesn't run and doesn't even crank over, to be honest with you. And they also told me that they can't get their scan tool to work with it, so they can't get any direction as far as what to do. So we pushed it inside. I did plug in the Altel here. Tried to do an auto ID, it wouldn't auto ID. Tried going in generic OBD2, nothing. There is no communication, so to speak, with the engine computer. Key on, engine off. I see the engine light is on, but I also see the big red security light is on. That would not inhibit us from talking to the ECM, and that's about as far as I've got. So I decided, well, we'll grab the camera, get you guys up to speed, let you know where I'm at, and take it from there. So I'm just guessing at this point that there's something on the computer data network that's goofed up, or maybe a module is pulled down, or a broken wire or something. Perhaps it could be, who knows. So I pulled up a wiring diagram here for the data network, and this works off a PCI bus, which I believe is very similar to the GM Class 2 in the way it works. So like when we look at it on a scope, it's like a 0 to 7 volt signal that they send, and we can see we've got an engine computer, ABS, airbag module, the skim key or the security key immobilizer module, remote key the sentry, the cluster, left and right airbag, radio, compass, which this one doesn't have, in the mirror. So that's kind of where we're at, and then of course this runs up to the ECM, and then from there it goes out to pin 2 on the data link connector. So I think probably our next best step would be is to get our lab scope and our breakout box and plug into the data link connector to see if there's any activity there. So we're going to use the Pico, and then this is the breakout box I have. It's an OTC 3415. Handy bit of kit to have around. You don't absolutely need it, but it definitely makes the job easier than trying to go up under the dash and probe. And you can also leave your your scan tool hooked up to it in line, but don't let that trick you. I see the fuse box cover was already off when it came in, and I say, oh man, that's the only thing I hate about this tool. Voltage is low, it beeps the entire time. Let me throw a charger on this thing. There we go. 12.8. I can see the little LED flashing on pin number 2, indicating there's data being transmitted there. So we'll get this hooked to the Pico, and we'll get our screen set up here on the Pico. And I was saying about having your scan tool hooked up when you're dealing with a no-com. You got to be careful, because if you have this hooked up and it's your scan tool's transmitting data, you're going to see it on your scope and it might fool you. So here, well, let's try to get you out of the glare. There we go. So here's what I'm seeing on the Pico, and again, that is hooked to pin number 2 and then ground, and that is what PCI Bus is supposed to look like, 0 to 7 volts. So something on the network is talking, which is kind of curious. I will admit, I did only attempt to talk to the ECM, so perhaps I guess this is good in a couple signs. That means that that our network wire is not shorted to ground or shorted to power or shorted to another circuit. That the network should be intact. I think perhaps what we should do at this point is try to talk to other modules on the network and see who talks and who doesn't. So I've got the Altel hooked back up, just plugged it. Whoa, hang on, right back into the end of our breakout box, and I've got it doing an auto scan. And I have noticed in the past, if there is a module that does not communicate, this thing takes forever. Realistically, I should be using my DRB, which is the factory scan tool for this, and doing a PCI bus check, I believe, that has that function built right into it. I'm going to let this sit here for a few minutes, see if it'll skip past the PCM once it decides it's not communicating, and then we'll take it from there. But like I say, looking at data, or looking at that actual computer data line, it definitely is talking, or somebody is. We're waiting for the old Altel to do its thing. Of course, the compressor kicks on. What's an SMA video without the compressor? I did print us out engine wiring diagrams, so we're waiting for that to finish scanning. It's about 40% done. we're going to look for power circuits that feed the ECM to see if they're, you know, just check the fuses, do some basic stuff here real quick. Actually, it's just about done. And through the miracle of modern television, it has finished. And this is where we're at. Those are the only modules talking. So it is my habit to have all the computers brought up, see who's online, who's not. So it says we have the airbag restraint is working. So we will take and we'll just highlight that. That one functions. Our mechanical instrument cluster, better known as MIC, is working. Where is it? Where are we? Am I freaking that ridiculous? Radio, compass, temperature, mirror. Let's just cross that one off because we don't have that one. We do not have the compass, temperature, mirror. Our radio works. I'm so ridiculous. Here we go. Instrument cluster. It's way down low on the page. I couldn't see it. Let's see. What else do we have? The skim is working. So we know that. So we've got airbag. Did we already get that one? We got airbag. We got skim. We got the cluster. We got the radio. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Vehicle theft security. Remote keyless entry. I believe it's going to be that one. I'd have to double check on an OEM diagram. I think the remote keyless entry module is the vehicle theft security. I'm not 100%. Side airbags. Does this thing have side airbags? I do not see anything that denotes that, so I do not believe it does. Impact airbag. Base of B pillar on the left side. I do not see any airbag warnings up here on the pillars, so I'm going to assume that this does not have side curtain airbags. So we're going to cross them off, probably check by the VIN, and I'm going to double check on the vehicle theft security to see if it's this remote keyless entry. Either case, we have no ABS, no engine. We'll double check. We know it has an engine. We will double check to see if this thing has ABS, and then I'll double check on this module. And for what it's worth, the codes that we have in it, airbag, loss of ignition run start, no cluster message. The cluster has SBC, so that's single board engine controller, message not received, PCM status failure, no PCM message received. So that is what we have stored in everything here. Okay, and I'm going with my big fat gut. Our vehicle theft security is going to be the same as our remote keyless entry. Hope I'm not wrong. Pretty sure I'm right though. So that's it. Looks like we just have two little fellas not talking here. I just went out and turned the wheel and took a look underneath it. The ABS does not talk because it does not exist. I do not see any wheel speed sensors on it. So from looking at our list, we were down to one option. The ECM is not talking. Whew, that's easy. So now that we know that, we're one step further ahead than we were. I'll grab our ECM wiring diagrams here, and we will find out where the power comes from. Powers and grounds, of course, and I think these ECMs are a mother lover to get to. There's our auto shutdown relay. I don't know if that's the control side. No, I believe that is the power side because that feeds power to the injectors and such. And then our last diagram, which should be this one here, will have the other power on it, or grounds. I'm going to go through and find our grounds. There's another one, our ignition feeds. We'll find all of that stuff. I'll highlight them so we know what to test, where the fuses are, know which ones to check. We'll take it from there. So always keep it simple at first. Simple as you can, do the easiest test you can, which I think we've done everything that we could do from the driver's seat. Make sure our test light's good. I will grab our diagrams. I thought it said we had a fuse under the hood here. So we've got a couple auto shutdown relay feeds to the computer, and I'm right, the computer sits down below the air box. Looks like it's a son of a bee to get to. Let's see here. That's on the left side of the dash. the fuse that feeds the auto shutdown relay, fuse 21, left side of engine compartment. So we will check to make sure it is good. Fuse 21. How's this thing arranged here? Battery terminal. Fuse 21, 20 amps, so it's got to be that little guy right there. And my light on. It's all corroded. Good on that side, good on that side. What's that relay there? Okay, that's a starter relay. I just see it's kind of poked up out of its holder. That's the only reason I was curious. And then our auto shutdown relay is this one here, which the ECM commands this on. Get that little fella up out of there. Well, it's not clicking because obviously the ECM's not turning on. One of these should be powered. There we go. Two of them are powered. Let me just double check my diagram. That is correct. And they're both powered from that fuse. Now you did it, you ding dong. There we go. So our power is making it through the fuse box. The relay is clearly not turning on. We'll stick that back in there. We'll go inside, we'll check the other fuses that pertain to this. Inside here it says fuse number 10 is a 15 amp. Let me get clicked on to something shiny. Door check, they're always shiny. There we go. Fuse 10, so if these are labeled correctly. 15 amps, so we've got power on both sides of that. So those are our two supplies for the ECM, our two fuse supplies. So now that we know both the power supplies that could feed power to the ECM are there, looks like somebody's been here and repaired a ground. Chrysler with bad ground, imagine that. Let me just see. I just want to see where the grounds on our ECM go. G102, left front of engine compartment. So it must be that little fella. Somebody's already been there, so that's something good to know. We know that our comm line is not being dragged down by the ECM or any other module for that matter, so that's a good thing to know. Our next best bet is going to be to go directly to the ECM, see if it has powers and grounds. I think another good thing to do, particularly on older Chryslers, is to check to see if there is a 5-volt reference output. I know the JTEC computers, like what do they call them, the Jeep truck engine computer, JTEC, if they have, let's say for example, a crank sensor pulling down the 5-volt reference, it'll knock out communications ECM, it'll knock the whole thing offline. I'd be curious to know if we have a 5-volt reference output, so I'm going to identify our 5-volt outputs on here. I don't know how many there are. I think these older ones only had one, if I remember correctly. And we will see if we have 5 volts somewheres. Temperature switch. That's always a good thing to know. I'm not seeing it right offhand. Oh, there we are. 5-volt supply. That comes out, goes to number 6. Right, number 6, violet with orange. Number 6, violet with orange. Oops. Let's see. That goes to throttle position only. There's got to be another 5-volt reference here. Oh, there we are. 5-volt supply. Comes out orange. Number 7 goes over here. Goes to the cam sensor. Goes to the map sensor. Goes to the crank sensor. Vehicle speed sensor. All right. Now we're getting somewheres. So just to get you up to speed with my thoughts on this, in order for a module to communicate, usually powers, grounds, and the ability to communicate, the comm line has to be intact. Good powers, good grounds, ignition feed, all that stuff. Some modules have a wake-up signal that actually turns them on. But like I say, past experience with Chryslers, now I'm not 100% certain on the Neons, but like I say, I do know of some Chryslers, and I've got a book on these, and I do know that Some models you can short out the 5-volt reference and it doesn't matter, it will not stop communications. I do not know right offhand with these if that's the case, but some of these sensors are easy enough to get to. It's worth, you know, taking a minute just to check before we pull this air box and stuff out to dig down to the computer. We'll just check, we'll find, you know, we've got 2 5-volt reference circuits, one that runs the throttle position and one that runs everything else. So we will get the cam sensors right here, we can unplug it. Throttle positions right here, we can unplug it. And I'm not 100% certain either if they have 5 volts being output without the auto shutdown relay being turned on. That I don't know either. I want to say that they do, but I've been wrong before. I'll probably be wrong again. So let's see if I can get the what's this? Maybe we'll just get to the computer. I think maybe the whole freaking air box is loose here. And it is. Everything is busted. Every single fastener, every bolt, of course, every throttle cables are all broke. Awesome. Alright, plan B. Sometimes I hate it when you get stuff from other shops, because this is what you get. More often than not, then of course you're always, you know, the last guy. Unfortunately, I document my process pretty well, so it's not going to come back and haunt me. Jeez. You know, it sucks when they, you know, both these throttle cables are busted. So even, or throttle cable and what's the other one, cruise control. So even once we get it done, still can't drive it. Slow down, people, slow down. The vacuum lines. I'm just gonna very gingerly set it out of the way. The key is still on, so while we can get to the throttle position sensor, I'm just gonna go turn on a multimeter here. Let that set. We'll grab this. What color was our throttle position wire here? Purple with white. There's a purple with white right there. Let's unplug it because it's missing the red lock. Purple with white. So everybody says 0.00 volts. So we've got no voltage. Make sure our meter is good. Our meter is good, and we do not have 5 volts coming out. But like I say, I do not know if that's supposed to without the auto shutdown relay being turned on. Okie dokie. I got us our custom SMA 4 amp test light. Because we are right down to the ECM already, we are going to be checking connector C1 that has a lot of the goodness in it. So let's take, I got us a pin out for ECM connectors. It says C1. It's black and black, 38 pins. And I believe, because I always think they're on the top, but they're on the bottom. If you get it where you can read the part numbers, the one being on the left. There. It's got the red locks in these things too. Ooh, got it. So there's our connector. We'll get this. Alright, and we're looking into it. So number 9 should be a ground, so that is that one there. So we'll grab our little light here. We'll get us a ground, which these pins are huge, so I'm just using these needles, which don't, you know, drag test wise, they fit very loosely, so we're not spreading the terminals. Let's see. Fuse number 11 is the run start. Let me go turn the key on. Hold on, folks. Okay, we got the key turned on. It's number 11, which is, should be this one over here. That's number 11, so she lights up, so our power and ground is good. Number 12 should also be power and ground, it is. Let's see. And then we've got another ground, number 18. Let me just look on our actual printed diagram here just to see. Number 18, ah, you ding dong, you didn't highlight that one, did you? So we've got number 29 also. So 29 is fuse power, so we'll go 29 and 18. That'll be another power and a ground. So let's see here. That is 29. That is not 29. That is 29. That's 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So it's that one. And that one lights up nice and bright. So they can all carry current currently. So that's good. We know we have power and ground. What else do you want to check, you ding dong? Let's see. So that is, now we've got to go connector C4. That has 2 ground wires, number 12 and 14. I think that was it. The other side is just auto shutdown relay, which is not going to be powered up because the auto shutdown relay is not on. So let's go to connector C4. C4? Man, where you get C4? You guys watch Rush Hour? That was on there. I've been looking all over for that. Let's see, ground 12 and 14. This should be C4 all the way up to the top. Oh, there it goes. Black and green, this is black and green. And I said numbers 12 and 14. 10, 11, 12, 12 and 14, okay. So that's number 12. Can we reach the battery? Come on, baby. There's 12. Here's 14. Alright, they light up nice and bright. So our grounds are good, our power input's good. I'm curious at this point if our communication is reaching up here. You know, if we have a break in the PCI, what would that do? What would that do, fella? Use your noodle. Let's find it here. Would it still start and run? Well, it's no, because if it was broken to PCI, it's not going to, we're not going to be able to talk to it, and it will not be able to talk to the SCIM module, so therefore it would not start. Is that true? I believe it is. Now, did we check number 30? Sometimes I don't like doing videos. I don't remember checking number 30. Fuse ignition switch output. Okay, because that is only in the start position. We're not concerned with that. Okay. So yes, let's find our PCI on here. Sometimes I go around all willy-nilly. It's 5 volts SCI, transmit, receive, PCI bus. Violet with yellow, number 38, which goes to number 10. Now let's see, number 10 traces over, goes right to the data link connector. So that is one we need. PCI bus, that is back in connector C1, pin number 38. So that's all the way at the bottom. We'll unplug that again. Okay, that's that. We will grab our diagram here. C1 number 38, it's all the way over on the bottom left hand side. There it is. And what we'll do is we will just use our little downer here because we already have it out. We will go down to our lab scope, 2-channel lab scope. We're plugged into power. I already got the probe on it. We will set this up on a 10-volt scale. We will turn the trigger off. Oops, that is not the trigger button, fella. We don't want any trigger. We will move our scale down so that way we can see it. We'll put some more time on the screen. We'll do a 1 millisecond sweep. I'll grab my wires here. I'll get this hopefully where you folks can see it. So what we should have out here is exactly what we have inside. Because the key's on, remember all the other modules are talking, so theoretically, if the wire's intact, we should see chatter. on the line here. If I can find the hole. And let me just make sure I'm in the right slot because I'm not seeing nothing. Let's see, number 38, PCI Bus. C1, number 38, PCI Bus. In the bottom left-hand corner. Oh, am I seeing it flicker here? Do we just got too much time on the screen? Let's slow it down. We'll do 20 milliseconds. Oh, yep, there we are. Let me get over here. Let's turn our trigger back on. Channel 1. Let's move our trigger up and over. And there we are. Now we see data out here. So the wire, the communication wire going to the ECM is not broke. I'll make this a little better resolution here so you guys can see it. So hopefully you guys can see that there. This isn't the best scope in the world, but we can see that the PCI bus is intact out to the ECM. We do have good powers, good grounds. Gosh, I wish I had my Chrysler book here. I'd like to know if the 5 volts can pull these down. Because if not, this is looking like a bad ECM. Because we've got power, ground, and the ability to communicate. We have all of our switched inputs. I'm going to do some double checking here on this 5 volt reference, and then we're going to make the call. So I'm just thinking here, looking at diagram. So that connector C2, so that's going to be the second one up, that houses one of the 5 volt supplies, and that is one of the 5 volt supplies that runs the whole shebang. It runs cam, throttle position, map, crank, and vehicle speed sensor on the transmission. It also runs the coils, injectors. It does not have any other duties as far as anything super important. So I think to eliminate the 5 volt circuit, let's just simply unplug. Come on, fella. We'll unplug it. Da, da, da. There she is. That one's being a little stubborn. There. Orange. Somebody's been into that one. She's all crusty. Or not crusty, but just got a lot of fingerprints on it. I just want to see real quick, did we restore communications with the ECM? Everything else on it's plugged in. This one's unplugged. That will eliminate the 5 volt reference. It'll also eliminate, you know, a bunch of sensors, injectors, O2 sensors, generator, throttle position, map, and all that stuff. You should still be able to talk to it. Let's see, our key is on. Are we sure we want to exit? We are. We're going to go control unit. We're going to pick the powertrain. We're going to pick the engine controller. If it doesn't pop up right away, then we know we still ain't talking. Nope. And that's with the 5 volt circuit unplugged, every one except for the one that runs the throttle position, which we can just double check that for a short to ground and call it. But she's still not talking, and it has everything it needs. That's it, folks. I feel confident in making the call and saying that this ECM is no good. It is a faulty part. That's why we can't talk to it. The network is intact, and we know it's making it all the way to the ECM. We know the ECM has good powers, good grounds. It can carry at least 4 amps, which is plenty. And we also know that the 5 volt reference circuit is not what's pulling it down. So that's it. That's all it can be. It needs a new computer. I did locate a used one. Tried to call the customer. He did not answer his phone. Hopefully he will tomorrow. It kind of stinks because that salvage yard is already coming up here tomorrow. So if we get the okay on the job, we'll get the ECM, we'll put it in, we'll program it, write the VIN number to it, program the skim key and all that business, and see if we're right. So in the meantime, go down there, click subscribe, so if that video does come out, you don't miss it, and you get to see all the other videos we put up each and every day. Find us around socials, Patreon, all that stuff. Just remember, viewers, if I can do it, you can do it. Thanks for watching.